How's it going, everybody? Aaron Judge hit his 21st home run in the last 41 games last night. And there's really only one way to describe what he's doing at the plate right now.
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Hey, Derek, this is William from Florida. Listen, I was thinking, what is the possibility of maybe trading Grisham, making Stanton a bench player, and maybe we could call up Dominguez. Judge Soto could swap as DH outfielder, and like that we could have Verdugo, Dominguez, and either Judge or Soto as DH and other outfielder.
As far as Grisham is concerned, I don't think anybody would trade for him. He's not hitting. Now, he is a good defensive center fielder, but I just don't think anybody wants to take on his contract. That's why the Padres had to use him as a salary dump as part of the Juan Soto trade. Now, in terms of calling up Dominguez, I do think it's only a matter of time because he's tearing up AAA. He's a switch hitter. You just can't have that kind of talent in your organization and not have it be helping the major league team. Now, Stanton hit a big home run last night. That's going to be fresh on everybody's mind. But a scenario like the one you've outlined, where you've got a rotating DH and you get Dominguez in the outfield, I think would be the best for the team. The only issue with that is that you lose your defensive outfield replacement in Grisham. Now, you could use Oswaldo Cabrera. He's played the outfield some, but he doesn't play a lot of center field. So I think that if you want to give Dominguez a day off, you'd have to put Judge back in center. If you want to give Verdugo a day off, you'd have to play Oswaldo Cabrera in left field. And there's the potential that you could have to use Giancarlo Stanton in right field at some point, which I'm not opposed to, as long as it's not a close game. But I think the Yankees' benefits of putting Dominguez in the lineup outweigh the benefits of keeping Grisham on the roster and giving regular bats to Giancarlo Stanton. Now, what will it do to Giancarlo Stanton, if you say, hey, look, man, your time as a starter in the major leagues is over, you're going to be on the bench. Look, he might not take it well, and that could disrupt the clubhouse. But he seems like the type of professional who would just accept that and just continue to work. I don't know. It's a sticky situation. I hope the Yankees get it figured out, and I hope Dominguez gets up to the major leagues as soon as possible.
Derek, what's up? Chris from New York City. Quickly, two things. One, how much better of a team it would be if we had Dominguez in there. And then for games like Kansas City, take off the bench, have Stanton come off the bench and hit those meaningless home runs. Two, if Rizzo can't even hit a position player and he goes 0 for 5, I'm sorry. What can Ben Rice or Rumfeld do that? You can't be worse than that. You can't not hit a position player. Even just a base hit, squeak it by. I'm sorry, this guy's washed. Thanks, guys.
Watching Anthony Rizzo here reminds me a little bit of watching Josh Donaldson at the end of last season. Now, Josh Donaldson was just unlikable, right? And so we were just rooting for them to throw him off the team just because nobody wanted him in the first place, and he just wasn't good. He was never good with the Yankees after that opening day walk-off. But with Rizzo, I feel like he's much more likable. He's always smiling. He's always helping guys out. And he's Judge's best friend. So we want him to succeed. Unfortunately, age catches up with everybody, and I think it has caught up with Anthony Rizzo in this case, unfortunately.
Man, Rizzo just looks washed. It seems obvious that he has some type of lingering effect. Or something that he just hasn't fully recovered from ever since that injury, or maybe he's dealing with an underlying issue that we don't really know, an injury that could have happened in spring training, whenever. But he just looked bad, man.
I think the one thing people forget about Anthony Rizzo is that 2 years ago he hit .224. That was before they got rid of the shift and all that stuff. And then last year he hit .244. And now this year he's back down to .220. So he hasn't been a good hitter for a while. He's 34 years old. A lot of guys are done by the time they're 34. Don Mattingly retired when he was 34 because of his back injury. A lot of guys just can't play deep into their 30s. That's just professional sports. Rizzo's a cancer survivor. His body has been through a lot. He's had that concussion. You just never know where a guy is at physically. And right now, just from watching him, 279 on base percentage, 611 OPS. I'm sorry, you got to get more production out of your first baseman. Fielding run value, I'm looking at StatCast. He's in the 50th percentile. Base running value, 3rd percentile. Offensive run value, 27th percentile. So the only thing he's even league average at is defense. And we all know his defense has not looked great this year. So he's good at avoiding strikeouts. He's in the 76th percentile of K percentage and 79th percentile of whiff percentage, but he just hits too many soft grounders and weak at-bats in general. You know, sometimes you got to just take Old Yeller out back behind the shed and do what needs to be done.
Hey, Derek. Frank calling from Newport Beach, California. Love the show. You're rocking it. Glad to see Ron Marinaccio come back. I haven't seen the end of the game results yet, but I just saw him come in with 2 outs.
Ron Marinaccio was good last night, and we saw the velocity tick back up a little bit. He's actually having a good bounce-back season. He said that last year he was injured, and that didn't really allow him to build up the arm strength that he needed. This year he seems like he's been pretty healthy, and he's been effective whenever the Yankees have used him. I'm glad that they decided to ditch Dennis Santana and go with Marinaccio, because Marinaccio to me has a lot more upside, and he's pitched in bigger situations and gotten the job done. So good to see Ronnie Boy back.
Just wondering what you think we're going to be doing with our corner infield spots. You know, DJ's back, so he can kind of spell Cabrera for a bit. So I think third base is kind of figured out. I mean, obviously, if a third baseman option comes, we can move maybe to first, but I think third base is where we should leave him. Torres is kind of picking it up. He's been playing pretty well the past few games, so I'm less worried about him now. But I mean, Rizzo has just been terrible. Dating back to last year. So I'm really wondering what you think our chances are. I mean, obviously the big names that are on the trade list is Josh Bell, Pete Alonso. Goldsmith's been brought around a bit, but Goldsmith's been playing just as bad as Rizzo. I really think Alonso should be target number 1.
Let's begin with Josh Bell. He is not doing a heck of a lot better than Anthony Rizzo. He's hitting .249. He does have 7 home runs. He's a switch hitter. He's playing for the Marlins. He's 31 years old. I don't know if the Yankees have a lot of interest in him because he's been available a few times and the Yankees have always passed. He's also not a good defender. He's in the 17th percentile of fielding run value. Now, as far as Alonso goes, he's another right-handed hitter who doesn't hit for much average, but has big-time power. 46 home runs last season, 40 home runs the year before that. But he's also not a good defender. I'd be interested to see what Alonso could do with the Yankees if playing for a winner again would amp him up a little bit. He's going to be a free agent, so it's not a long-term commitment. But I think the best solution, honestly, is to call up one of the kids, probably Ben Rice. I think Ben Rice injecting some youth, a young left-handed bat who's swinging the bat better and on the upward trajectory, I think he could get some big hits for the Yanks. And he's probably a better defender, even though he hasn't played there much.
Hey, Derek. What's up? It's MJ. Hey, listen, man. Yeah, you did that show the other night about, bad trades or whatever, bad trade ideas. Well, I got one for you. A trade idea. It's actually brilliant. You're probably not going to like it. But here goes, all right? Tim Anderson on the Florida or the Miami Marlins, right? Listen, there was talk about, you mentioned Jazz Chisholm as one of the targets. Just hear me out. You got Glaber. They're not going to do it, but it would be brilliant. It's a steal, right? And you say, well, Tim Anderson, he's washed up. He's hitting under 200. Listen, we're talking about a guy who, before he got knocked out by Jose Ramirez, right, he was a batting champion, perennial all-star, right? A guy who Mark DeRosa in the World Baseball Classic put him at second base, and he fit right in, played the position, was more than comfortable because they had Trey Turner and guys like that. If the Yankees get him as a utility guy or a second baseman, put that guy at the bottom of the lineup. And you say, well, he's hitting under 200. Listen, this dude is a beast.
Tim Anderson, he's washed up. He's hitting under 200. No, I'm looking at his StatCast stuff right now because I honestly hadn't even thought about Tim Anderson, and rightfully so. He looks awful. He's among the worst in the league at everything. I don't know if beast is the word I would describe Tim Anderson with, unless it's beast of burden. But yeah, I don't think the Yankees are going to make that move. And plus, I've heard he's not the greatest clubhouse guy, and he can't fight worth a shit in case you get into a brawl. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you after the game tonight. Yankees going for win number 4 in a row. See how many home runs Aaron Judge hits this time.